The 1960s were darker, stranger, and far more daring than most movie lists will tell you. From noir revenge trips to ghostly samurai legends, these 10 overlooked films break the mold. Dim the lights. These mind-blowing 60s movies are the kind of hidden gems most people never even find. Pretty Poison opens like a quirky coming-of-age story, but nothing about this film is safe. You meet Dennis Pitt, Anthony Perkins, all nervous tics and gentle oddness, just released from a psychiatric institution trying to reinvent himself in a small New England town. He meets Sue Ann Stepanek, played by Tuesday Weld. She seems like every high school dream, bubbly, bright, more alive than anyone around her. But there's something off about every conversation. That's the hook. Perkins is trying so hard to seem normal, you start wondering if he's dangerous or if the real threat is hiding behind Sue Ann's smile. The film stays one step ahead, flipping your expectations about innocence and manipulation. There's a sudden, sharp shift halfway through that turns the suburban setting cold and mean. Perkins and Weld are the whole show, awkward, magnetic, unpredictable. Pretty Poison never fit into a clear box. It was too weird to be a thriller, too sharp to pass as comedy, and too dark to get any mainstream love. It slipped past the box office and got lost in the shuffle. But there's a reason critics and filmmakers keep bringing it up. This film shows you how evil can sneak in through charm and how the ordinary can get twisted without warning. You finish feeling uneasy, unsettled, and strangely impressed. That's a rare trick. Kuroneko starts simple. A lone house at the edge of a war. A mother and daughter-in-law left waiting. Then everything changes. You see the shadows move, hear the wind shift, and realize nothing about this story is ordinary. You watch as the women become ghosts, hunting samurai who cross their path. There's no rush. Every scene moves slow like the world is holding its breath. The violence is sudden but never overdone. Instead, you get moments of quiet, faces in candlelight, long shots where you're not sure if something's watching. Kuroneko stands out for the way it mixes beauty and horror. You notice how the supernatural never feels cheap. There's a reason for every haunting, every act of revenge. It's about grief as much as it is about ghosts. The samurai code means little here. Rules break down when you're left behind by war. This film never became a staple outside Japan. The pacing is too measured for most audiences, the style too different from Western horror. Even critics sometimes miss what makes it stick, the sense that pain lingers and the people who are lost never really leave. Kuroneko is worth watching for its quiet power. You feel the sadness, the anger, and the loneliness. It reminds you that some scars, especially the ones left by violence, never fade. Knife in the Water strips things down. Just 3 people, 1 small boat, and a whole lot simmering beneath the surface. You're locked in from the first scene. The husband and wife seem comfortable at first, but as soon as the young hitchhiker steps on board, you feel the energy shift. Every glance between them is a move in some private game. Nobody says what they really mean. You notice the boat doesn't offer much space. That's the point. Nowhere to hide. Every word, every gesture gets amplified. The husband tries to stay in control, showing off his experience. The hitchhiker isn't impressed. He pushes back quietly. The wife observes, but it's hard to know where her loyalty really sits. You get the sense anything could tip things over. Jealousy, pride, maybe something darker. Polanski keeps it minimal, but every detail counts. There's no music to soften the edges, just wind, water, and silence. That's where the tension lives. When it was released, the film made waves in Europe but barely registered with mainstream audiences elsewhere. Subtitles, the lack of flashy action, a focus on psychology, those things kept it under the radar. It's still worth your time. Knife in the Water feels sharp and modern, even now. Every choice matters. You finish the film with questions, tension, and a sense you've watched something honest. Something that doesn't let you look away. The Cremator starts quietly, just another man going to work. He runs a crematorium, tidy, polite, always smiling. But as you watch, something begins to feel wrong. His routines, his speeches, they shift from harmless to disturbing. You see how he uses dark humor, and it's not funny for long. This is not a monster in a mask. He's a regular guy, almost too ordinary. That's where the film gets under your skin. The director uses strange angles, fast cuts, and a soundtrack that keeps you unsettled. You start to notice how the world around him is changing too. Little by little, politics creep in. The horror isn't sudden. It builds, slow and steady, until you realize what's really happening. The Cremator got lost outside of film circles for a simple reason. Nobody knew what to do with it. Too dark for a comedy, too strange for mainstream horror, and the history, set on the edge of war, was too close for comfort. For years, it stayed hidden, especially outside Europe, but it's worth tracking down. The film shows how easy it is for evil to blend in, to wear a smile, to hide behind routines. Watching The Cremator, you start to see how horror grows, not with screams, but with ordinary choices. That's what makes it last. Branded to Kill doesn't play by the rules. You get thrown right in. Sharp cuts, sudden freeze frames, wild camera angles. It's fast. It's unpredictable. The plot barely holds together, and that's the point. You're watching a hitman with odd habits, a thing for steamed rice, a fixation on butterflies. Every detail feels out of place, but you can't look away. Seijun Suzuki takes what you expect from a gangster movie and flips it. Dialogue drops out. Action scenes break into slow motion. Logic takes a backseat to style. The whole film feels like it's running a fever. Danger, sex, death, all mashed together. It's chaotic, but every shot is precise. This isn't about the story. It's about the rush, the mood, the way each scene catches you off guard. Branded to Kill bombed when it came out. The studio thought Suzuki went too far. They even fired him. The film was too strange, too fragmented for audiences in the 60s. It took years for people to catch up and see it for what it is, a cult masterpiece. Now, you can spot its influence everywhere, from music videos to modern action movies. You watch Branded to Kill and realize, sometimes the best films make no promises. They just show you something you've never seen before. That alone makes it worth your time. The Saragossa Manuscript isn't a film you just watch. It's one you wander through. You start with a soldier in Spain stumbling on a strange book, and pretty soon you're inside a story, inside another story, with no clear path out. Every time you think you found the plot, it folds in on itself. Characters reappear, old mysteries become new ones, and what's real is always up for grabs. There's a gothic touch, old ruins, secret codes, duels at dawn. But the film never stays serious for long. You get dark jokes, sudden twists, and moments that almost feel like a dream slipping away. It's surreal, but never random. Everything fits, even when you're not sure how. The Saragossa Manuscript was too strange for most audiences. At 3 hours, in black and white, with stories that never quite resolve, it never had a chance at the box office. It drifted out of sight for years, only later turning into a cult favorite among directors and writers who love puzzles. This movie doesn't offer easy answers. That's the appeal. You watch, you get lost, and maybe you come out with a few new questions. For anyone tired of films that spell everything out, the Saragossa Manuscript is a reminder. Sometimes the journey matters more than any ending. If you're enjoying these 60s gems and you haven't subscribed yet, now's a good time. Hit that button so you never miss a hidden classic. We've got more overlooked movies coming your way every week, right here on VintageVerse. Petulia is restless from the first frame. You get jump cuts, quick flashes of color, pop music echoing through late-night San Francisco. It's the end of the 60s, but there's nothing peaceful about it. Every scene feels unsettled. Relationships break and reform, sometimes in a single conversation. You watch Julie Christie drift through the city, impulsive, never quite at home. George C. Scott is the opposite, still, heavy, always a little lost. This isn't a traditional love story. It's a film about confusion, about trying to connect when everything around you keeps changing. Director Richard Lester uses the camera like a microscope. One moment you're caught up in the energy, the next you see just how lonely these people are. The story skips around, and so does the mood. One minute it's funny, the next it's sad, then suddenly there's music drowning everything out. Petulia never found a big audience. The style was too modern, too quick. The editing, the music, the odd sense of time, mainstream viewers didn't know what to make of it. The film went overlooked, even though it picked up praise from critics and filmmakers who saw how much it was experimenting. You watch Petulia now and see a city, maybe even a generation, caught between hope and disappointment. It's not a film that gives you answers. It just lets you feel the chaos and keeps moving. The shooting doesn't give you much, just empty land, a few men on horseback, and almost no words. But that silence is what makes it work. Every shot lingers, every sound echoes in the heat. You watch characters walk through the desert, never really sure where they're headed or why. It's a Western with none of the old comforts. There's no hero, no big score, not even a clear goal. Warren Oates looks tired, uneasy. Jack Nicholson rides along, restless, unpredictable. And then there's a mysterious woman. You can't pin her down. The story moves slow, but every step brings more questions. The tension is in what's not said, in the way people stare at each other or flinch at the wind. The shooting got buried when it came out. It was too different, too spare for audiences used to action and easy answers. Released on a tiny budget, barely promoted, it slipped right through the cracks. But if you give it a chance, you start to notice how much is happening under the surface. Director Monte Hellman strips the Western down to the bone. It's about waiting and wandering, and how fear creeps in when there's nothing left to distract you. You finish the film with more questions than answers. And somehow, that's what stays with you. The swimmer starts with an odd idea. One man decides to swim his way home, crossing every backyard pool in his neighborhood. At first, it looks like a joke. You see perfect lawns, bright sunlight, Burt Lancaster moving with confidence, like he owns the whole place. But you keep watching, and it changes. Every pool is another conversation, another piece of the past. You start to notice what's missing. Friends who don't act like friends. Memories that don't line up. The easy charm fades, and Lancaster's smile turns tight, almost desperate. The journey is less about swimming home and more about trying to escape something he can't admit. The swimmer never got the attention it deserved. It was too weird, too dark underneath the surface. People expected a regular drama and got something closer to a waking dream. The film slipped through the cracks, showing up on late-night TV, but rarely getting much respect. But this movie hits hard if you let it. It peels back the fantasy of perfect suburban life, shows you what's hiding under the surface. The pools stop looking refreshing and start to feel cold. Lancaster gives a performance that feels both heroic and deeply sad. You finish The Swimmer not quite sure what's real, but you know you saw something honest. That sticks with you. Point Blank isn't your standard revenge story. It's cold, stripped down, and full of edges that never get sanded smooth. Lee Marvin plays Walker, a man left for dead, now tracking down everyone who wronged him. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't need to. His silence does more damage than shouting ever could. The editing jumps. One moment you're in a hallway, the next you're somewhere else. Los Angeles doesn't look like the city from other crime movies. It's empty. Strange. You feel lost, the same way Walker does. Every deal, every room feels like a trap. What sets Point Blank apart isn't just the story, it's how everything feels off balance. You're watching noir, but the rules keep changing. There's no comfort here. No moment where revenge brings relief. Everything is cold, mechanical. You start to wonder if any of it even matters to Walker. Point Blank never hit it big when it came out. It was too harsh, too weird, too different from the crime films audiences expected. Some critics didn't know what to make of the style, how it broke the genre. But filmmakers noticed. You see its fingerprints in a lot of modern thrillers. It's worth watching for the mood alone. You walk away from Point Blank knowing not all revenge stories are about justice. Some are just about emptiness that never goes away. That's your look at 10 60s films you won't find on most lists. If you found a new favorite or something you want to watch, hit subscribe for more hidden gems every week. Drop your own picks in the comments. This is VintageVerse, where lost movies find new life.